What is good? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pick Six channel. And today we have episode number 11 of this 32-part series why this team can make the Super Bowl, Detroit Lions edition. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm doing this with every NFL team this offseason. So, without further ado, let's get into the numbers of last season. So, the Lions went 12-5, winning the NFC North for the first time ever. That's crazy to say, but I mean, that division has been led by the Packers. I mean, it's been owned by the Packers. And, the Vikings won here and there, but for the majority of the seasons, the Packers have ran that division. But it was a different story last season, okay? And Coach Campbell for the Lions did one heck of a job rebuilding that team. I mean, he changed that entire culture for the Detroit Lions. They are no longer the loser, they are legitimate contenders in the NFC. Okay. But there was also questionable decisions that happened last season. Okay. You had the thing in Dallas. Do I think they were robbed of a win when they lost to Dallas late in the season last year? Yeah. Yeah, that was very skeptical what happened last season uh, when they played the Cowboys. But they just kept on going for it on for the 2-point conversion, and at some point they should have just kicked the field goal. Okay, and then you have the NFC Championship game where they were up by what 17, and just questionable decision after questionable decision. But then you could also make the argument that that's how they got there. That aggressiveness is how they got to the NFC Championship game. But that aggressiveness is also what stopped them from getting to the Super Bowl. But that's the only reason why I believe they missed the Super Bowl was because they were overly aggressive. They could have settled with a few points here and there, and that could have closed out the game. But now let's get into the 2024 schedule for the Detroit Lions. So they start off against the Rams once again, rematch of that wild card game back at Ford Field. So that's a storyline right there. Yeah, that looks like Sunday Night Football. No surprise at all. And I'm gonna be honest with you, their schedule, the teams that they play, they have some competition there. I mean, they have to play the Packers twice, which look, I get last year they were 9-8 or whatever the record was. I think it was 9-8. But the Packers, I feel like that was only a showcase of what they can do. We got to recognize that the Cowboys. What am I talking about? We got to recognize that the Packers are a very young team. Okay, and I believe last year was just a showcase. I think they get better this year, so that those games against the Packers are gonna be more tough than they were last year, in my honest opinion. And that is the team that can compete. That is the other team that can compete for the NFC North title. So the Lions need to really watch out for those Packers. And after they play the Packers their first time, they have to go to Houston to play the Texans. I believe they're on the same boat with the Packers. Okay. Last year was just a showcase of what they can do. They're a very young team as well. Okay. That's going to be a pretty tough game. And then late in the season, they have to go to Santa Clara to play the 49ers. Week 17, that could determine the first seed in the NFC, depending on how the Lions do. I mean, like I said, their schedule, it's pretty tough. It's no pushover schedule here. Okay, they also played Dallas. I believe Dallas took a step down, but they're still pretty good. Buffalo still took a step down, but they still have Josh Allen. So they do face some pretty tough teams this season. But the Lions are a pretty tough team as well. So I still do believe they make the playoffs. No doubt, no question about that. Okay, I saw some YouTube shorts saying that they weren't going to play, that they weren't going to be in the playoffs, and that they're overrated. That is not a good take, in my opinion, but that's just me. Okay, the Lions are a really good team. They are not the Lions of old. The only question is, do they win their division? That's a legitimate question. But even if they, whether they do or they don't, I mean, they're still very much in the Super Bowl contender slot. Okay, they have the team, they have the culture, they have the coach. Okay, like I said, I get what happened in the NFC Championship game was not good, but that's one game out of how many? I guess you could throw in the one against the Cowboys, but in my honest opinion, I think they got screwed over that game as well. But the Lions were this close from making the Super Bowl last year. They were that close. Okay. And if it was just decision making, they would have made the Super Bowl. So really my only concern with the Lions is the fact that the Packers seem like they're gonna get better. But the Lions still have a really good team. Still have a top receiver and Amon St. Brown, Jared Goff, not the best quarterback in the league, okay, but he does good enough. He has a good team around him so that he can be good. The Lions defense is pretty solid. They just have a solid team and stacked team all around. Okay. This team is a legitimate contender. They've shown it last year, and I believe they're going to show it again this year. And I do believe that they could dethrone the Niners in the NFC. I do believe they could beat any top team in the NFC, including the Packers. So there's not really much else to say here. I mean, they're that team. They're one of those teams that are going to make a run for any top team's money. Or not even that, they're a top team in the NFL. So what do you guys think on this matter? Do you guys think that the Lions can make the Super Bowl? Do you guys think that they'll win the division? Because like I said, I think the Packers are going to be better than they were last year. Maybe the Lions are going to be better than they were last year, but the competition that they're going up against is some pretty tough competition. And I get they play teams like the Bears. I mean, some people are high on the Bears this year. I don't really know. The Cardinals, maybe they're better than they were last year. They also play the Buccaneers. Their schedule's pretty tough. It is. But I know they'll make the playoffs. And if they make the playoffs, no doubt in my mind they could go up against any team and beat them. But that's just my point of view here. What do you guys think? Do you guys think they'll make the Super Bowl? What do you guys give on a scale of 1 to 10? Do the Lions make the Super Bowl or not? Do they win the division or not? I'll leave it up for you guys down in the comment section down below. But other than that, that's about it for this one, and I'll catch you guys in episode number 12.